oh my gosh, I'm reaching out this way because I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it? See that little speck? That is a spider. I've been seeing spiders all day. Hi, little one. Here, I'm going to put you someplace safe, okay? Be right back. Ready to have a deeper conversation about body and soul, sacred leadership, and our collective evolution? Welcome to the Wise Body Ancient Soul podcast with me, your host, Charisse Sisou. Literally right before hopping on, I was like, let me look up the meaning of spiders. Or just what, and then see this. So this is what I do. Like, we're constantly receiving messages, right, from the world around us. That's the fourth spider I've seen today. That's significant, right? And they were literally all like falling right into my presence, just like what happened, right? One was like sitting on I went in to wash the dishes and it's like sitting on, like, it surprised me. I'm cleaning this knife and I turn it over and there's like a largish spider kind of like hidden on the other side. So I squawked, it jumped, and I was cutting some greens in the garden, brought in a spider by accident. And then before I got started, I think it was the same little spider that was like dropping down right before I hit record, and then showed up again like, hey, I want to be a part of your episode. And when I tune into that, so I was getting, when I looked it up online, this is what I do, by the way. I get messages like that. I Google because it's fun. And ultimately, I look for what is resonating with me in that moment, right? Because you'll find this. There's a lot of sites out there with a lot of ads, and, it's very clickbaity, right? People are constantly looking for guidance on this stuff, right? And always tune in because there's a nugget there. Trust your intuition of which one feels the closest to your experience. And then even as you're reading through this person's interpretations, check in with yourself. What makes sense for you in the moment? And what was really dropping in for me actually was creativity, a sort of stealth, the way that these spiders can really typically go so unnoticed. I'm sure that there are in nooks and crannies in my garden. Oh, definitely, if I include my garden, forget it, right? We're talking about dozens, maybe even hundreds of spiders, like within a very short, maybe let's not spend too much time thinking about how many spiders per capita, right? Within the realm of my house or or my garden. But part of their magic is that they really blend in. They're so stealthy, right? They're so stealthy, and they're really such a blessing. And I remember reading a long time ago that in Chinese culture, spiders are a sign of luck. They're good luck. Researching this online, I found this little nugget. Chinese have a high regard for spiders and call them good luck or happiness spiders because they descend from heaven above. In reflecting kind of where I am in working on this podcast today, working on this episode, figuring out a new setup. I'm working with a new platform, Riverside FM. And I want to, I'm always looking for ways to improve, right? So I was like, okay, I'll be able to improve my audio and video quality and recording capability, especially as I dive into more interview episodes coming up soon. A spider is so stealthy because its whole MO is patience, right? Waiting, like creating this intricate web. That's where the creativity comes in. And then stepping back and being patient and allowing what wants to come in, right? And hopefully it's something juicy and wriggly. So, it's not that distant from what I'm trying to create right now, which is putting my work out there, just being bold in creating and putting together what it is that I want to talk about, putting it out into the world. Before launching this podcast, I mean, you may have seen me on Instagram, you may have seen a sporadic YouTube video or so, but this is really the first time that I am committing in a real way to putting material out there every single week, pretty much without fail. And it may not always be to the day, will there be an occasional missed week? I'm sure. And there might be weeks where there's more than one show, right? Because I'm just have that much more to say. The next step of that is sort of that, and then stepping back and letting the web do its work, right? Letting the work work its magic, and call in those of you that are called to listen to these words, those of you who can take comfort, whom these words will really serve. Yeah, and having the patience to allow that to unfold. There was also a lot in there about the feminine, because this is not that the feminine spins a web and catches her prey. Wah, 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 wah. It's more so, this idea of receiving, the allowing. That is that active part of receiving, if that makes sense. It is not passive. It is not passive, because especially for us, the act of receiving, we almost have to do it actively. If we are passive about it, so much of our programming is nope, don't need that. Nope. Not necessarily having that openness. So, at least that's been my experience. And certainly anybody who's downloaded my abundance kit, where it's how to ground in the body to increase our receptivity. Simple tools around the stuff that you already do every day. And without that level of consciousness, without consciously doing it, I think a lot of us are, just based on early childhood programming, past life program, whatever stories we've adapted as our own, ancestral stories, familial stories around what we can receive, what we deserve to receive. I said reserve because I was combining receive and deserve, right? Because there's this whole thing, this whole story about deserving in our culture. And that is completely separate from receiving. The reality is that we are constantly receiving, and we're constantly putting out a beacon of what it is that we want to receive. It has everything to do with our energy and how we're resonating in any particular moment. And if the spider wanted to teach me anything today, it's this, and she showed up for you too. So I'll just share that insight, which is our work, our purpose really is to create, really is to express who it is that we are without attachment, without agenda, right? I mean, there is an agenda, and and the spider isn't there in the middle of its web I mean, not every spider does this, right? There are different spiders that maybe perhaps are a bit more aggressive, but I'm talking about that spider that just weaves its web and then steps back and allows the web to do its work. And it's very much whatever's meant to get caught in that web gets caught in the web, right? And then taking it out of predator prey dynamic, our job is to express our brilliant, unique creativity, whatever that looks like, And that is like, that's your work in the world, that work that brings you joy, that is in service. And it can look like anything. It can look like being a school teacher. It can look like, preparing beautiful meals for your partner. It can look like tending your garden. It can look like making a podcast, right? It can look like processing customs documents, whatever it is that is your juicy, like offering to the community, to the world, right? Even if it's just, and when I say to the world, doesn't have to be like literally to the world. It could just be to your world, right? To your family, to your community. And then to let it go in a way, right? And just let it do what it's meant to do. Release any preconceptions of how it's supposed to play out. This is what I'm getting from the spider today. I'm just doing a little spider oracle reading right now since the spider decided to drop in and school me today. And this is what's really coming in, is that such a big part of calling in what it is that we want, right? Manifesting what we want is letting go of how we think it's meant to arrive, right? Simply focusing on what it is that we can do, expressing ourselves, being ourselves, being our creative selves, and then letting it go, trusting that, and being patient, because that's such a big part of it too. Like, think about that spider. The spider is not hurrying up. You know what I mean? If you think about it, it's so interesting, right? Like, what is marketing for a spider? It's just like, it's the opposite of what we're used to, right? Where it's like shouting from the rooftops, like, come check out my web, come check it out, very different. It's just like, I build it, kind of a little bit like build it and they shall come. And I don't mean that in the sense of like not marketing. I don't mean that in the sense of like not putting it out there. Like, I'm recording this and I'm going to publish it and I'm going to share it and I'm going to publicize. You know what I mean? And I'm also have been reminded over and over again that part of my unlearning, relearning, right now I'm learning how to do work that I love, that brings me so much joy, and allowing the path to reveal itself in terms of how will the fruits of my labor be delivered, right? How will this really affect change? How will this touch people? It still remains to be seen. And it, like everything, is an experience, is a snapshot of this moment in time. This message might touch you, or you may have gone, spiders, peace out, right? Actually, if you're still with me, then thankfully you don't have a spider phobia and have just run screaming from this episode. But well, what an interesting, fun, spontaneous. I sat down to record one episode and ended up doing a spontaneous reading because of an unexpected visitor. And the message that these spiders been trying to get through to me all day. Be patient, the path will reveal itself. Create what your soul longs to create, and trust the process. Trust that things take the time that they're going to take, that we can't always rush. We can't always rush the process. In fact, often we cannot at all. And so be patient. Have faith. Be patient. Have faith. Be patient. Have faith. I repeat that for myself as much as for anyone listening. So with that, I bring this surprise spider episode to a close. I just got like a visual of like, wouldn't it be cool if I could? I do not have the equipment to like rappel myself down from the ceiling upside down, like a la Spider-Man, and being like, hey, what's up? But I'm just planting that little image in your head since it popped into mine. And trust your path, trust the process. Yeah, trust the process and be patient with the process, and trust that you're creating what your soul longs to create is a part of that process. It's like the creativity and then the letting go of expectations around process speed with which it will be received, the impact that you're longing to have, the results that you're longing to conjure. Focus on the creation. Let go of the rest and be patient and trust. Trust that when we create with the highest good in mind, with the highest service in mind, the results do come. They really do. All right. I hope that this spoke to you. Actually, I know that it spoke to you because if you listen to a whole episode on a spider's oracle reading, then this message was as much for you as it is for me today. Enjoy and keep creating. Keep the faith. Be patient. From my heart to yours, I love you. Take what you need and pass it on. Thanks for joining me on Wise Body, Ancient Soul. I hope it reminds you how magical and powerful you truly are. Kindly subscribe, rate, and review this podcast so more juicy light bringers like you can hear these transmissions. And if you're looking to connect more deeply with your body and soul's wisdom, visit CharisseSisou.com to learn how else we can play together. Here's to your joy and wild success. From my heart to yours, I love you. Take what you need and pass it on. This is me like doing my spider web thing.